doing? I'm good.
Mm,
You doing all right?
I am shocked. I'm
Mm.
appalled.
Oh,
I'm attempt even um
oh,
that I don't have any friends past like 2009. Like
am I your oldest rating friend right now?
pretty much
Am I your
like
bestie bestie?
you do not know you don't know me before I was loud and rambunctious and shady.
I don't know pre Radford Tim,
No,
and and uh and even at this point, it's been like what 15 years at this point.
honestly, I probably would if I was to. So today we're talking to um your friend.
That's right, Mr.
Derrick.
Derrick's on the episode with us today.
He is. And I was thinking, I was like, the only person that maybe is my friend longer than you would probably be Danelle.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
They are probably the longest friendship I have. So maybe
Okay.
I'll invite them at some point.
Oh, that would be fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
well, I really appreciate you doing this. Yeah, everybody, we wanted to do something a little different today, so I invited my other bestie Derek onto the episode,
yeah.
so that him and Tim could like have a conversation, talk
Mhm.
about my favorite subject, uh,
Me.
which is books.
Uh,
Um, so yeah, we're gonna bring Derek on here and let him and Tim chat a little bit. But Tim, anything else you want to add before we jump in?
well, I just want to say, in the paraphrased words of Susan Sarandon, Derek may have your past, but I have your future. So,
Oh
hi
wow.
everybody, and here we go. Click. Well, the recording is in progress, people. Today we are a different type of cub and chub. I'm still chubby, but we have less of a bear and more of an otter today. We have Bear's friend, Derek.
Hello.
Hi, Derek. Yeah, so Bear wanted us to, I guess, argue about how I'm his best friend and you're his best friend, and I don't know. You know how your friend is. He wants
Is this
us
like
to.
is this like a death match kind of thing where,
Yeah, it's kind of like
whoever
WCW, who's the world champion. Um,
thank you for saying WCW and not WWF or WWE. I appreciate
I wanted it to be clear that I understand the lingo of yesteryear for
I
sure.
I really appreciate that.
No, but no, it's kind of cool that you're here and like we get to see the other half of Bear because I hung out with him during college, so we get like that. We talk about that all the time, but nobody really like gets the side of like Baby Bear. Um,
Sure.
uh, the fact that Bear is actually his not his stage name, but actually his I guess nickname from years ago.
There were great premonitions in the family and knew that he would be a bear someday, and so they at birth
Yes.
they said, "We will christen him Bear." That's that's what happened.
Exactly. Well, I mean, of course, tell the people who you are. I don't want to be like, oh, this is blah 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 blah. Like I don't, you know.
Yeah. Um, yeah, my name's Derek. I've been best friends with Bear since we were in high school together. What drew us together was music and our love for music and playing in bands, and we ran in the same circle. And since then, well, maybe not immediately, which we can get into. Maybe not immediately, that spark was there, but it
Ooh,
was the spark that came through that kindled a lifelong friendship.
yes. So like me, it wasn't an immediate like gotta be friends with him.
Yes. Yes. So
What was this disdain that you had for Bear? Let's talk about
the
the disdain we have
the
for Bear.
disdain for Bear, the
Yeah.
disdain. So when I met Bear, like a lot of vocalists, he was very moody and temperamental, and not temperamental in a sense that he was like he frequent like blowing up at people or anything. He was just very moody and could have these deep levels of withdrawal from people. And
Okay.
I didn't understand, like, it's like, what's your damage, Heather? Like, you know what I mean? It's like, what's
Yeah,
going
yeah,
on with you? Like, why are you always a downer when people are trying to have fun? Um, and I found those moments, being much more of a brash high schooler, 20-year-old,
yeah. Mhm.
um, annoying. And I I felt at times he was just trying to probably get attention, in certain ways,
Yeah,
and
where's the
oh,
middle child?
woe is me. Look at me, I'm suffering. I'm the vocalist. I write
Kurt
songs.
Cobain.
Yeah, I'm going to write a ballad. I didn't realize, I think, how much hurt he was going through at the time.
Yeah.
I don't think I realized how much he was struggling, I think, with sort of proclaiming his sexual identity at that time. And it wasn't until he told us his feelings and came out. I was like,
Yeah.
oh,
So you're just different
oh,
by nature. So you're
yeah,
just sassy. Like,
yeah. It's like, oh, okay, that makes sense.
mhm.
And once that happened, I think it allowed him the first, maybe he was already taking steps beforehand, but it allowed him this sort of lifelong journey of taking steps to be where he is now, who he is, and being comfortable, with proclaiming who he is. And it really opened my heart to all
Aw.
that is Bear. And then plus we worked together and we lived together for a while in the same house. So
Yeah.
we were together like 24 hours a day. We had no choice but to
Right.
start liking each other.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we found that we were just both very goofy. We liked the same music, even though we were playing this heavy rock and I was playing more like heavy metal and,
Yeah.
just, black and long hair. It's like, if Prince came on the radio, we're just like, kids,
Yeah.
like we were just,
Yeah.
we
Okay,
were
okay.
totally like into it. And we both realized we were music nerds
Mhm.
who didn't stick to one genre, and we can't be together for 5 minutes without just deep diving into random music stuff.
Oh, I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
So, like, let's go back to the coming out portion. Like, did you
Sure.
have any like hesitation with that? Did you feel like, whoa, what all right, well, I don't know what this means for like our friendship or anything like
No. No, never. Never. There were already like maybe some rumors, and I
that?
had brought it up before. It's like, no, no, of course not, kind of
Yeah.
thing. And, oh, okay. Um, to me, it made sense.
Okay.
I never doubted anything. I never doubted our friendship. To me, it made me become more empathetic. I have family members and things who are gay,
Yeah.
and it's one of those things where, if anything, I felt remorseful, um, because I was still coming out of that teenage, like, "Oh, you're gay," kind of, like
Yeah.
just the stupid guy humor that was, I don't know if it's still prevalent now, but was
Yeah, like
certainly
that's so gay and all
prevalent.
this other stuff.
Yeah. Oh,
Hitting people in the nuts. It's
right.
yeah.
Right. Coming out of that phase to, oh crap. And it's just made me become more aware, as a person,
Yeah. Well,
and
that's good.
perhaps even more vigilant. Like, no,
Yeah.
yeah, don't make homophobic statements. Like I, it's like
Yeah,
I
so
need
it
to
made
be
you
more
more of an
protective.
ally to know that like your friend is there and like
Yes,
you experience him in like an everydayness that a lot of people may have not gotten back then with
right.
LGBTQ people.
Yeah. It, I remember him telling me even, back in the day that because again, I was big and burly, long hair, like I was, like this metal, like guy. And I think I was one of his first friendships that wasn't predicated on being attracted to the other person. Like
Yeah, yeah.
it was a friendship for friendship's sake.
Well, don't do that to yourself. I mean, as a bigger person myself, like I kind of like understand being like the person that like just understands everybody is my friend for real. Like
Right.
because they're not interested in anything else that's going on. But yeah, but you I mean you went through a weight loss journey, right? Um
Yeah, even like a visual transformation, just with how I dressed, how I looked. I mean, the whole deal.
yeah, what made you want to just like transition in that way?
Well, there's the very practical there's the practical matter of I can probably um and this may sound very selfish, but like more attractive females will like me if I'm more attractive, right? So
Yeah,
just wanting to be
yeah,
wanted,
exactly.
to be wanted, I think was part of it. Also, with my family history, and I already was diagnosed with like borderline high blood pressure at 20. I knew I needed to make some lifestyle changes,
Yeah,
just in how I ate and the things that I did. So it was twofold. One was vanity,
yeah,
and the other one was I wanted to lead a healthier lifestyle. I wanted to be a healthier person. I wanted to be a person who was going to be able to, run with my kids or whatnot when that
yeah,
day
yeah,
when
yeah.
that day came. Right. I wanted, like, those were the things that I wanted. Um,
Yeah, I
which
see
was
that.
yeah, which was part of that journey. And Bear was there to witness that journey. And
Yeah, like did your I guess like just like when you chose to lose weight because of like the attractiveness, I've chose to move to like DC and Atlanta for the attractiveness because losing the weight was just too hard. But so yeah, did it change like after your weight loss and your transformation? Did it change how you interacted with like your friends and whatnot?
here's the funny part, and the thing that I had to get over: you're still you.
Yeah,
And even though I had transformed how I looked,
yeah,
I still had the same insecurities. And that took the longest time
yeah,
to work through. Um, I was for it's not that I doubted myself or spoke like ill of myself,
yeah,
but I certainly, yeah, I had these insecurities and they were still there.
yeah,
And so people would, but it was very weird how I noticed how people interacted with me differently, just in day to day life,
yeah,
um, and how people were more willing to go out of their way and things like that.
yeah,
Um, and how I was automatically, pulled into what I would have considered like the hot popular group when I was in high school that I hated.
yeah, yeah,
The
yeah.
porn,
It
who
feels
hates that?
different when you're just like, oh, now I'm one of you.
And then they talk to you and
Yeah,
and then they kind of circle around you and I'm like, oh,
yeah,
how did I get into the Mean Girls group?
and that,
What
yeah,
happened here? It was a very awkward time for me.
that was me in DC. It was
Yeah.
very awkward. I was like, how did I get into the rugby crowd?
Yeah.
Like, how I'm a sporty now? What?
Yeah.
Like it really changed a lot of things about how
Yes.
I deal with gays and everything and just people in general.
Yeah.
But yeah, it really changes how you see, it shows you how you were being treated.
Right.
Like
It does.
you're just like,
It-
oh, okay.
yeah. And it's something, even, my son now who's very athletic, and, I try to remind him, like like don't judge people by how they look or their
Yeah.
weight and things like that, because you don't know what that person's going through. Like, I still remember all the kids making jokes when I was in middle school or high school, just all those little mean things that kids would do.
Yeah.
And I try to teach them to be, a good person. And just because you can run fast and that you're athletic, you don't know what that other person is going through. So don't judge them by, by their exterior. So
Oh.
yeah,
Well, good. Well, you talked about him a couple times. You have a kid now.
I do. I'm at that dad portion of my life, like
How do
knee
you
deep.
feel like that's changed? Like changed like you as just a young adult versus like you as a dad now.
That's a great question. You get to a point where right now my life revolves around taking him to practices and what's
Yeah.
his schoolwork and getting homework done. And before he was born, there's this whole, like, I'm going to do this, I'm going to advance myself this way, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And now it's pretty much all about him.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the biggest things. And even just, catering where we eat and where we go and things like that. We try to include him on things that we like, but there's only certain things that a 9-year-old, likes that
Yeah.
you like. So I'm really excited to share things with him and explore things with him. At the
Yeah.
same time, he's developing into his own little person with his own likes and dislikes, and they're not always the same as mine.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how does Bear factor into all of that? Like as far as your ship, how is that like different? And like how does he do you think he's a good uncle? Wink wink.
He is. It's funny when, like, so Ethan definitely went through the when he was really little. My son, he went through the stranger danger, and
Mhm.
so I remember when he was like 2, like Bear would come over, and my son would cry for a half an hour, and he's half Thai, so he would tell my mother-in-law, like, he would point to Bear and he would say in Thai, he would say, "Bad, I don't want it, I don't like it."
Yeah.
and
I
and
feel the
and
same way.
you feel the same way, and there's certainly been times, but no, he's but Bear's been a great uncle to him. He's one of the first people that Ethan has really warmed up to.
Yeah.
Even now when he sees him, and actually, I use Bear a lot in just helping educate Ethan about homosexuality, bisexuality, whatever we want to call it, or
Yeah.
it's there'll be times where Ethan will ask questions, and I'm like, well, it's like Bear, and we love Bear, right, for who he is. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, of course we love Bear for who he is, and we wouldn't want to change that.
Yeah.
So not only is he a great uncle, but he's also a great role model for the type of people I want Ethan to be endeared to, and how I want him to be accepting of others.
Cool. So you love to use LGBT people against him. Okay.
Yes.
We understand. Uh, what is something you've never told Bear?
Oh, geez. No, listen, I gotta tell you, Bear knows the deepest, darkest crevices of my existence. Bear knows things about stuff that no one else will
Ooh.
ever know about me. Never.
Ah, I
Bear
love
is Bear's my friend that when everything is falling down, he's the one person that I can confide into about everything. And when I say confide into about everything, it's, it's not that I can't confide into my with my wife about things or anything like
Yeah.
that. But there are those moments where I need someone outside of
You need a
of
friend.
his circle, right?
Yeah.
And he's been that throughout the years. I'm trying to think, if there's anything that I haven't told him that like I've held out on. Nothing comes to mind because, like I said,
Yeah.
it's
Is
a
there
huge.
anything, any like moment that like is very special to you that you don't think like really Bear even knows how special it is to you?
I mean, we're both sappy musicians. Like we're always talking about our feelings, and it's all gushy and
But
yeah,
you're a great guitarist, and Bear is like a great vocalist. It's two different
it's
things.
two different things. It is. It is. I think that's why we respect each other. But we come
Yeah.
from the same. But it's yeah. I always make it a point to try to tell him what he means to me, and
Yes.
and I do. I'm it's is I always try to make that point. Always try to yeah. Just and we'll. I remember I called him. He was having dinner, and it was 10 years after my mom had passed. And for those of you who don't know, when my mom passed, Bear and my wife stayed with me for an entire week and didn't leave me alone one time for
Yeah.
an entire week. And Bear helped us organize everything, put the funeral together. We learned songs together, and I called him on that day and just told him how much it meant to me, how special he is to me as a friend, and for being there throughout my side. I didn't know that he was actually having a heavy conversation with someone else at the time as well. So,
Yeah.
I think maybe the tears were falling for him and flowing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's yeah, no, it's we've gone from when we were first like we still banter each other,
Mhm.
but we went from that I think almost this like big brother, little brother, like, and I would try to banter him like I would a brother that's a couple of years younger than me
Yeah.
to just being equals and being there for each other. We will still, we'll still banter, but it's different.
Yeah. It's friendship.
Yeah.
It's brotherhood in a different kind of way.
Now I'll tell you, Tim, I got one for you because I want to hear a
Okay.
little bit more about how he was in college. Because I'm gonna. So let me tell you. I'll set it up for you.
Okay.
So we were best friends. Bear goes off to Radford,
Yes.
and back then he was let's say unreliable about when he said he would come visit back home,
Yes.
and I was still very much introverted back then. And
Mhm.
when Bear came home, I wanted to spend time with my best friends, with my best friend. He would always bring a Radford entourage with him. And I'm like, what are you doing? Is it Kathy Griffin who had the show The D List? I'm like, what are you doing bringing all these D list friends
Yes. And I
back
was
to
gonna ask
our
you. I was gonna ask you
place? Like,
about that. I was like, when he came back and all like honestly, he brought the misfits of like I don't have a family back with him. And
and
he was like, I have a family, you can be a part of mine. And
it's,
and I always wondered like specifically like sometimes like his nieces and nephews. I'm like, how do they feel like with all of these random people like
yeah.
just popping up along with him?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I can't speak to them, but I was annoyed at first.
Yeah.
But then once I started going to Radford a little bit, and once I got used to the core group of friends, right, that he had there,
Yeah.
It's like, okay, like I can work with this. But there were definitely times where he would just show up and like some random person who he met one time at some party would come and I'm like, what is this? Like,
Yeah, he picks
how do
up
we know
strays.
how
And
do we know Todd and why is Todd here? Like,
yeah, I'm like, I wouldn't do it personally, but I fortunately I'm grateful because I'm one of those strays that were picked up. Um, but no, like I could understand how that is like. I just want to hang out with my friend and not this
right,
like fat queer kid. Like, like it's like I don't know. Like I was just like always. I always wondered how I was perceived.
right. I
And
think I think most people took to you right away. I don't remember having those same feelings with you, and maybe it's just because time
yeah,
and
I mean,
and
I
it
came
was
at a different time. Like
right,
he had already been there for 2 years, so like
exactly,
you guys had already figured out like he just brings strays home, and it
right.
is what it is.
And I think it was also like I learned during that time. I think that was part of his coping mechanism as well.
Yeah,
Just with just with coming home, and I think during those years, I don't think it was always easy for him to come back to Williamsburg. And so
so
I
you
think
would
his
bring like
coping
security
mechanism was
blankets, like
let me bring my security blanket, which is like this entourage of Radford,
yeah.
students with me.
Fortunately, when I came with other black people, so like, and I guess they just got weeded out amongst the process. But I definitely was like, I was like, you have a whole life here, and I don't. I definitely felt like I was like, I'm not really a part of this, but I appreciated like your friendship and
Yeah.
the friendship that I find in his other parts of his family, his sisters
Yes.
and mom and dad and even niece and nephew. Like they're cool people. And like I just always wondered how I mean, after I'm assuming at some point y'all understood that we were not dating. Like
Right.
so like after after a while, I guess y'all were like, no, they're not dating. Okay, they're
Yeah.
just like brothers.
Yeah. Yeah. Bear was normally pretty upfront with me about what he was or was not doing. But
Yeah.
I think that took him years to get to as well. I remember when he first came out, he would almost kind of live this other life in a sense where he's like, "Well, I'm going to the club
Mhm.
and not the U club kind of thing."
I'm
And
not
I was
going to y'all's club. I'm going to my
and
club.
so I started making a point where I'm like, "You're my best friend.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm going with you." And sure enough, I mean, my first gay clubs that I went to and things like that, it was
Not
with
the
him.
wave.
The Wave was one of them. The other one, the funniest one, I think, was I was really introduced to some things that I don't want to
Ooh.
say I wasn't ready for, but I didn't know. We go to this place. It's in, I don't know if it's still there or not. I doubt it. It's somewhere in Newport News.
Mm.
I think it was a Waffle House. And they spray painted the windows black and stuff. Like you couldn't see in this place. Like
Yeah.
it was, and it was definitely not in the best parts of Newport News.
Yeah.
And we go in, and there are these what I learned now are twinks serving drinks, and
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure they're in tidy whities walking around serving
Yep.
drinks. And
Not surprising.
there's this nice drag show going on,
Mhm.
um, and there's definitely there's some pool tables there, and I'm like, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm supportive, but
Yeah.
it's also I'm okay. I'm eyes
Yeah.
open here. I'm okay. I'm trying to figure this out. So I'm playing pool, and all of a sudden I feel something rubbing up against me as I'm playing pool. I'm like, what the hell? And I turn
Yeah.
around, it's Bear.
Oh man.
You. And so I think that helped loosen me up. And it's like, okay. Touche. Noted.
I mean, you know, anytime you can put a pool stick there, it's gonna loosen you up. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
And so that was but that was fun. And so but it really, I wanted to not only be a part of his straight world, I wanted to be a part of his entire world because we were
Yeah.
best friends. Yeah.
And I will say that's very important. It might be why I don't have friends from as long as like I don't have high school friends. Like I don't have that because a lot of LGBTQ people just it's hard to explain to somebody who's not.
Yes.
And so if you don't want to go there, I don't want to have to explain it to. Like
Right.
so you just end up having two worlds.
And, you know, Tim, I mean, you're from the country. Like I
Yeah.
know where you're from. You're from the
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
What type of community or support or anything was there when you were growing up?
I think about this often. I am somebody who I create what I need where I need it, and
Yeah.
it has always benefited me. That is a skill that I really cherish about myself.
Yeah.
I didn't have like some fairy godmother that was like, "Oh, you're gay and that's cool, it's whatever." But I did have the love of my mother. I knew never like even though I didn't tell her until I was like 19,
Yeah.
I knew that no matter what, she loved me, and
Yes.
that was enough. I had people at church that they didn't like they were all about like not supporting gays, but they had certain things that they would instill in me that was very important. I had a school teacher named Connie. He always instilled in me to read for myself and not go by what other people just say. And that helped me to understand that everybody's generating their own thoughts and opinions based on whatever book or whatever they're reading, based on their life. And so that helped me to understand that people are just going off of what they think and feel. It's not necessarily what the universe or God really thinks. So it kept me from like really dark places, like it kept me from feeling lost,
Yes.
if it makes sense. It was so I created support in ways that would help me survive it.
Yeah.
Um,
It sounds like you used the influences from people around you who cared about you to really build your own. I don't know if resilience is the right word, but sort of be comfortable with with this identity and really become comfortable with yourself and formulating your own opinions and I
yeah.
guess having that tenacity to get to where you are today.
Yeah, I really, it sounds cocky, but I really like who I am. And I really enjoy my presence so much so that I usually stay alone because I'm my favorite me. But yeah, like I just, but then I look at my friends and stuff who have, you know, friends from high school or friends from childhood or things like that. And I'm like, wonder what that's like. So like, because I really just don't, I think I didn't water that. So obviously it's just not, some of it's on me, but
Right.
also where I'm from, they don't they don't culture or like support people of my stature. So it's both. It's one, I didn't water the grass, and two, the soil isn't supportive. So you know.
True. Yeah, no, I mean, while my part of my family isn't from the exact same part, it's from the same geographical area, and
Yeah.
being different isn't something that's welcomed normally.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've been able to really kind of chart your own path to where you are
Yeah.
today.
It really like a lot of my life were building blocks toward the rest of my life. Like I was definitely talking to my friend Ricky, shout out to you, yesterday, that um I feel like my this of my life started at 22.
Yeah.
Like that it I don't feel like I'm the same person as that like 0 to 22 year old is. I feel like yes, I could like I can drive a tractor, but that's because of the 0 to 22 year old kid. Like I'm not out here killing chickens and stuff anymore. Like that's just not me. I'm more of a like let's eat some bean sprouts and like can we go get sushi tonight person.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
like it's interesting.
And for me, because I know Bear is a part of this conversation. Bear was a part of one of those major transformations for me. Is when we talk about these blocks.
Yeah.
I went from being, my father passed away when I was young. He was an alcoholic. My mother struggled for years after that with different dependencies,
Mhm.
and I was really kind of, I don't want to say raising myself, but I was making a lot of adult decisions
Yes.
and at a young age. And so I struggled. I went from being like a very bright and uh, student who made straight A's to failing miserably
Yeah.
in middle school and high school. And it wasn't until I said I saved up some money, I bought a guitar, and I'm going to do this thing I always wanted to do and play music. And then once I started playing music, things started falling into place for me, just with the people that I met. And Bear was one of those people. And then before you know it, I'm reading things, I'm learning things that I probably wouldn't have had access to before.
Mhm.
And Bear was right there as part of that growing process for me, and sort of our group of misfit artsy friends.
Yes. Well, speaking of the music, when are we gonna get more music from you and Bear? Is it Candy Rocket or
Candy
something?
Rockets. Oh
Yeah.
yeah, my favorite glam band. My favorite glam rock band, Candy Rocket.
Yes.
Oh, I don't know, Tim. We
I mean, I know you have a feature on one of his more recent songs.
DJ Barebones is really busy. He is booked up.
Yeah.
He's
And then you
got
got Editor Bear
uh,
for the podcast, and you have Bear for Cub and Chub.
he's got stuff going on. It's hard to get on his calendar.
Yeah, but I mean, you guys, you have time. I know you can make it.
And and again, I'm at that like, oh, we're off to the soccer fields today. Woo, here we go. Like that's my life right now. So, I think in about 10 years, once Ethan, goes off to college or whatever, that's probably when, the Candy Rocket, reunion tour will happen.
Yes.
We'll be playing at a Dairy Queen near you. Be on the lookout.
Well, I will be there with bells on, or candy stickers, whatever your fans use. You should call them the Laffy Taffies or
The
something.
Laffy Taffies.
Yeah.
All three of them. The Laffy Taffies. It's gonna be great.
Well, I have just a couple more questions. Um, oh, DJ Barebones or DJ Bass Monkey? Because I know you lived with both of them at one point.
Yeah. Great question. So DJ Bass Monkey is more innovative. DJ Barebones crafts better songs.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. DJ Bass Monkey is about, pushing the,
Yeah.
envelope. He's gonna
He's more of a
experiment.
pioneer.
Yeah, he's a pioneer. He's gonna experiment for the sake of pioneering. DJ Barebones still, comes with the song first, and maybe it's on acoustic or whatever it is, and then builds around that.
Okay. Okay. So both for different reasons.
Both for different reasons.
Okay.
But just for the record, the world should know that DJ Bass Monkey is way cooler than me or DJ Barebones will ever be.
Oh wow! Wow!
Is there,
So DJ Barebones, you are not cool. You are only a carbon copy of the original.
No, he's too hip. He's too hip for us.
And I have one last very important question.
All right.
When you bathe, what do you use? Do you to clean yourself?
I don't know why. Well, actually, I do know why, because of when I grew up. But this takes me right back to like an old school. Was this like a Chappelle Show skit or something like that?
Oh no, it's just whatever you use. Do you use your hand? Do you use a washcloth, loofah? What?
Bar soap. It's Dove bar
Only
soap.
bar soap.
Dove bar soap.
All right. Well, shout out to Dove.
Shout out to Dove. You gotta stay moisturized.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I personally would use Dove with a washcloth.
Yeah.
But we all do different things.
We do. Yeah. No, I've always been. And I'll use. What is the thing called? My wife likes it. It's the.
Is it the loofah or is it the Japanese washcloth thing?
No, it's more like the loofah thing.
Okay.
I think she'll use that, but no, I grew up with just the bar soap. Maybe because we couldn't afford washcloths or something like that. I don't know, but it's just always been always the same.
I mean, my mother worked at a towel mill, so of course, yeah, she got them.
I mean, we were so unorganized sometimes when I was a kid. Like, I remember bathing with like Dawn dish soap because we didn't have regular soap. Like, it was.
We had lye soap that like my mother made. My mother would make soap when I was really, really young, before 15.
Yeah.
Like she would make our lye soap. And we also used it as dish detergent, and we also used it in the washing machine. So shout out to her. She was amazing.
Shout out to her. Absolutely. Well, you haven't lived until you've taken a bath with Dawn soap. Gets the grease off. That's what I hear.
Definitely. I do use Dr. Bronner's, which does the same. But I use a host of things, and I can't expect other people to clean as I would. So
that's true. Tim, I'm gonna be real with you. As I remember, like I was really into grooming and things like that, and as I've gotten older, it's just more about like what's the least amount I have to do to be presentable today.
I can understand that.
And that's my life.
I get it.
What's some of this like the athleisure gear? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm work from home. I'm like, I need shoes that weigh like 0.2 pounds.
Yeah.
I need pants that are going to expand with my waist. And
Exactly.
like my like skinny jeans, and I'm gonna wear these nice boots, and I'm ready for it every day. Done. I'm done with that.
Ugh.
I want to feel good and look good all at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm not
I'm personally looking forward to fall so that I can get into the clean. They call it the clean boy aesthetic.
okay.
It's basically any athleisure, but like a trench coat.
Yeah.
So a trench coat makes it all come together, whether it be um, just like a hoodie and some
Yeah.
sweatpants and some nice shoes or something, and it just looks good. So I'm looking forward to like putting that together.
My reality is I'm about 10 years away from being the target market for like Dr. Scholl's and Skechers. You know what I mean? Like
Oh, I
that's my.
already am using.
Are you there? You,
I'm using, what is it called, the compression socks.
yeah. Oh,
Love,
love.
adore them. I have varicose veins, but like I'm just like, wow. Well, I guess it's being overweight and all of the other stuff on these legs. They are not the same. They're no longer Megan knees. But I appreciate them as they are
That's
because
right.
they brought me a long way.
They got you here.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna bring Bear back now that he's probably listening the whole time.
Probably. He was probably waiting to see if I was going to say something terrible about him. What are they going to
Yeah.
say?
Which I don't know. Why would you say something terrible about your friend?
That's true.
Unless it's true.
That's
But
It's like now that we've had this conversation, I have to rethink my entire friendship. Why are we doing this? No.
yeah, I mean I will say that he's no longer a biscuit. He's not flaky at
He's
all.
not flaky anymore. No, he's very reliable and
Yeah.
yeah, lives by his count. Now he's like the opposite of it. Now he lives by his calendar, like very punctual and
A little professional, that one.
I heard I'm awesome. That's all I heard. So thank you.
We said that you're professional. You're no longer a biscuit.
yeah.
Wait. I'm a
Flaky.
professional, no longer a biscuit. Okay. All right. I'll take that.
You're no
you know,
longer flaky. He agrees as well.
Flaky. See, I'm so
Flaky.
dumb. That's so good.
Yeah.
No, you're rad for days, buddy. It's like I'm coming to visit. Okay, sure you are. When your car pulls in the driveway, that's when I will believe you're here.
Yeah, when I see you in front of me, I will take stock.
Yeah.
No.
As a matter of fact, you probably could even pull it. You're right. No, you have to be in front of me because you could pull in the driveway and then back out
And
go
just leave still.
and vanish.
Well, to be fair, I think he needed to be less flaky for his friend that needed a little extra love and support. So,
Oh, is that your theory?
yeah, I'm a little bit the reason. So.
Okay, you're the reason for the season. I got you. All right. Well, I hope you guys had a great chat.
We did.
We did. We had a wonderul chat.
Really
I don't know.
did.
When was the last time you guys saw each other? Was it a birthday?
He had a beard. Like,
He had a beard.
I remember. Yeah. So I remember we were one of your birthdays in Richmond. We were at the Indian food restaurant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it? Did we see you last Christmas or something?
Something like that. Yeah, I feel like there was another time after that.
Oh, you know what? You did come by the house for a holiday recently, Derrick. So maybe there was an overlap there.
Yeah, perhaps.
Maybe. Perhaps.
Well, I'm glad you guys got to chat.
We got
about
to
my
chat.
favorites.
We got to see each other. We got to
My
hang
favorite
out.
subject.
I know.
Great.
I'm the new best friend now. So.
That's right. You've been replaced. You've been demoted.
Oh, wow. Okay, gotcha. Well, I'm glad you guys got to fight
It's
that
that
out.
easy,
Yeah,
honey. Like,
Tim's riding shotgun now. You're in the back seat.
Wonderful, wonderful.
I
Well-
mean, it didn't take much.
Uh-huh. Well, Derrick, we have a tradition here on the podcast where at the end we talk about what's making us live, favorite thing that maybe happened this week. And since you're our guest, I thought we'd ask you. So, Derrick, what's making you live this week?
Wow, that's that's a great question.
Mhm.
What's making me live this week is embracing transitions and changes. You all, you are You are an uncle to Mr. Ethan, and
Mm-hmm.
he's going through a lot of changes right now with new school,
Oh yeah.
new soccer team, new this, new that, new friends, and just being patient with transitions. And so I'm thankful for being there for him and supporting him through these big transitions because I remember how scary those were as a kid.
Yeah.
And, what may seem small for us is really big when you're 9. And just helping him be a part of that. So I think that's what I'm thankful for this week, even though I tell you, it's not always easy.
Yeah. Not always fun. I hear you.
Yeah. And then, of course, I'm thankful for being here. I got to chat with Tim, and we didn't, we didn't scorch you too much.
No, I think we baked you just right.
Yeah, I didn't talk about you breaking any lamps when we worked together.
No.
Which you could have.
I could have.
Listeners, we're doing a little bit of magic here because I have not yet heard what Derrick and Tim talked about. So I'm sitting here, hopefully not a fool. Well, thank you for sharing, Derrick. Tim, what's making you live this week?
What's making me live this week is a couple things. The cooler weather in Atlanta. It has allowed me to go outside and touch grass and understand that the world is much bigger than my little apartment that I'm renting. And also vitamin B12, which has made me feel like I'm human again. So thanks so much.
Are you doing like vitamins, or did you do a shot? What'd you do with the vitamin D?
I'm just doing a tablet right now. I just don't feel like going to the mall to get the shot. So I'm just doing a tablet, but I was literally feeling like I woke up tired and somebody was just like, oh, I got a B12 shot the other day. And I was like, I haven't had B12 in so long. Maybe I'll try that. And I feel alive,
Nice.
Being alive. That's me.
There we go. Very nice.
Yes. What about you? What you living for?
I'm living for rural Virginia. Ooh. So I know, right? Look at that face, Tim. So
I'm from rural Virginia.
You know a little bit about rural Virginia. Yes, you do.
I was steeped.
I did a wedding this weekend up on the Rappahannock and drove through an area that I actually used to drive through pretty regularly with Derrick, which was kind of interesting, near Saluda out that way. And being queer and being in that space and not having cell phone connection and being around a large group of people I don't know is always a recipe for a little bit of anxiety for me. Yeah. So I went out there for the rehearsal and I was driving through the area, and I was seeing some Trump signs, which was expected. It's election time. I know where I'm at. Not surprised. What shocked me was the number of Kamala and Waltz signs, literally, in a few areas more than on these huge farms, these huge signs for them. And I was like, what's happening? Okay. It was one of those things. I definitely have a bias and an assumption of what I'm going to see. And I saw some of it. But I was genuinely surprised, for the other half repping out there in the middle of nowhere.
Did you almost have a panic attack because you saw what you didn't expect to see?
I was panicking already about being there, and then I panicked about the reality not being what I thought it was, and then the Matrix exploded.
Listen. Listen, these people out here are not as rich as you think they are, and they're not as dumb as they look. So
And again, the couple that I did the wedding for, again, they're from that area. Lots of country music requests and things of that nature. All these kind of biases that I still deal with when I'm working with certain crowds, if you will, certain crowds of white people in particular, and just pleasantly surprised all weekend. Everybody was sweet. Everybody was really awesome. And yeah, just pleasantly surprised as we're going into a kind of a weird election time, as has been normal the last few cycles. I was like, oh, that's nice to see. So
I was actually more scared of the other cycles than I am now. Like,
I have some anxiety, but it's not the same. It's different. Yeah. So I thought that, So that was kind of an interesting thing that happened this weekend.
It's not like Flashlight, coming down a blackout in Phuket type of.
No, not a whole island going dark on us in the middle of an election, like the announcement, Trump's president. Dark.
We didn't even talk about traveling with Bear. Oh my god.
Oh my gosh, we could do another episode on that. That would be awesome.
We could.
Tim, where can people find us?
You can find us anywhere. You can find washcloths. You can find them in my bathroom. You can find them at the dollar store. You can find them at any place that you find cleanliness. But mostly, and importantly, you can find us at wearecubandchub.com.
That's right, wearecubandchub.com, where you can listen to us, buy our merchandise. I'm so glad we made this work. Derrick, thank you so much for joining us this week.
Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah, it's so good to see my two favorite people. It's like, oh my gosh.
It's lovely to have friends that, stand the test of time. I don't know what that's like, but yeah.
I mean, you've been friends with Bear for like 20 years, right?
College. Yeah.
Bear
doesn't know me from like middle school or when I was sucking off the pastor. Like, he doesn't know that.
And that, my friends, is how we're going to end this episode. Everybody have a great week. We'll see you next time. Mwah.
Bye. Holy is thy name.
Indeed.